Come with us as we celebrate the wins, all the goals, and those very special moments with the coaches. So slide into that favorite spot and do what you have to do to get ready. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. Another week, Joe Young. Another week in the books.
We are getting a little bit closer to that holiday break where the teams get a little bit of a lull. But right now, it is pretty much jam-packed except for skiing.
Well,
we're getting closer, though.
It is. We got a little bit of snow on the ground.
We've got a couple little tiny snowfalls in the last week. So we're getting closer, and hopefully Nordic Ski has a tournament this weekend in Winona.
Yep.
And hopefully there's some groomed trails down there, and they'll at least get a chance to get out and race. It should be kind of interesting to see how they come back from that, having not a lot of time. I know that reading Coach Denny Green's blog, he has encouraged the kids to get out to groomed trails whenever they can and get as much time on actual snow. But as a team, they really just haven't had the opportunity to get somewhere where there's man-made snow. So
we've had such a late snowfall this year. It's been tough for everyone.
Well, not tough for those sports that take it indoors. And the boys hockey team, last week they start with Rogers, and then they play a very tough Elk River team. Yep. They start this week against an even better Centennial team. The Cougars kind of manhandled them a little bit, 9-0 the final. Outshot the Cardinals 33-7 in this one. Outscored them 9-0. That's back-to-back shutout losses for the Cardinals, and it's always a little tough to take. But the Cardinals looking to get things back on track on Saturday, facing a slightly easier task than 9th-ranked Elk River and 6th-ranked Centennial. Still, you can never have a night off in this conference. Totino Grace, another team looking to right its ship. The Eagles beat Roseville in their season opener, but had lost 3 straight since then, including an 8-2 loss to those Elks. One team was going to be able to break their losing streak. Coon Rapids gets the start they were hoping for, taking advantage of a power play early in the first. Puck play to the net, and the Cardinals keep swarming on it. Derek Knapp finally able to get control, put it past keeper, get the visiting team on the board first. Cardinals able to play with the lead for about 7 minutes, but the Eagles eating things up with a power play goal of their own. Argeros able to make the first save, and after a fan attempt, he makes a second save. Then the puck was behind him, and Am Johnson able to poke it home. Tie would not last to the locker room. Cardinals flying into the zone late in the period. Tommy Carls puts it on net. Keeper able to make a couple of saves. Michael Crosby able to finally push it home, give the Cardinals a 2-1 lead after the opening period. Eagles change that quickly in the second. They score the opening minute, then a little less than 5 minutes in. Great look to find Johnson alone at the back post. One times at home, his second of the game gives Totino Grace its first lead. Tommy Carls weaving through traffic, scoring. Pretty little gem, but it was 5-2 before that one. It was his first varsity goal. I guarantee it won't be his last. Cardinals get one more in the third. Good feed from Crosby out front to Pieri to finish it. But Totino hands Coon Rapids his third straight loss, 6-4 the final. Tommy Carl's just a sophomore. He was laid up with a broken wrist during tryouts. Scores 3 points in his varsity debut. He's going to be fun to watch. And talking to an unbiased sort of parent who has a child on the Totino team, but whose child played coming up through Coon Rapids and has another son still playing for Coon Rapids. Talking to him a little bit, he said that top line for Coon Rapids was the best team, best line on the ice in that game with Tommy Carls, Michael Crosby, and Kirby Pieri.
Well, you've been talking about Tommy for a while because he did, you're familiar with him quite obviously. He played with your son, Aaron, and I'm anxious to see him and get the opportunity next week.
He's fun to watch, and we will get our opportunity next week. But this week, the Cardinals are at Spring Lake Park on Thursday. They host Irondale on Saturday, hoping they can get one, maybe even 2 wins.
Be nice.
And get a little bit of momentum going. Girls hockey team has their momentum back. After a slow start, they've won 4 of their last 5. They beat up on Totino last Tuesday, beating the Eagles 4-0. It was not on December 7th, obviously. No. But Or no, it was on the 7th. It was on Thursday.
Thursday was the 7th.
It was on
correct.
Thursday.
Yep.
I was thinking it was a Tuesday game. But it was on Thursday. They beat Totino 4-0.
Well, the win over Totino, you know, it felt good, but the Bluebirds hope it's just the start of a nice long winning streak now that they found their stride. This is just the start of a rare stretch of softer games on the girls' schedule. And it comes at a perfect time as the Coon Rapids Champlain Park squad is really starting to gel. On Saturday, they traveled to take on Osseo Park Center, another team that was looking up over its last few games. But the Bluebirds were going to shoot them right back down. They were the visitors on the scoreboard, but the Bluebirds look right at home at Brooklyn Park Community Center. They control all the action, and they start scoring on the power play 7 minutes in. Nice give and go. Out to the corner, Liz Zarate scores, and Coon Rapids Champlain Park has the lead. They add to it less than a minute later. Emily Peterson creeping in from the point, shoots low to the far side past traffic. Great screen out front. The goalie never saw it. Bluebirds 2-0 lead after the first. Another dominant period in the second. 20 shots on goal by the visitors. And their power play pays off again. Keeper makes the first couple of saves, but Anna Bezcalo is able to sweep it home. The backdoor CP leads 3-0. They really run away with it in the third opening minute. Abby Pearson gets to the top of the circle, shoots Mackenzie Baker right there to put the rebound home, made it 4-0 in the Bluebirds' favor. They were up by 5 before Micah Sutherland scores coming up here on this one. Oh, that was it. She had to wiggle out front, slide it through the 5-hole. Nice goal there.
It was a pretty goal. But, yeah, they crushed them. 52 shots on goal for
impressive.
The Bluebirds. Bailey Shuck stopped all 17 to get her second straight shutout. But, yeah, that's what they need to do. This is a team, you know, when they co-opt with Champlain Park, you know, the combined power, this is a team that they really need to be able to dominate those lower level teams. And right now, you know, you come off of those 2 games, back-to-back shutouts. You got another couple this week that should be victories. These are games, looking at the schedule, they should win. They're at Irondale over at the Super Rink on Tuesday. And Howie?
We'll be there.
And then they have Armstrong Cooper on Saturday, and the Wings, they've been
They're having a tough
rough.
year. You know,
they are winless and have only scored in about, I think, 2 of their 8 games, something like that.
Well, the opponent we're going to see tomorrow night in Irondale, just 1 win, and that is over that Armstrong Cooper squad. So you're right. The CPCR squad, the Bluebirds, I should start calling them because I'm going to get used to that, have hit their stride. And a couple of wins against some teams they should beat will continue to build confidence for this squad.
It will, and it's going to be important as they get out of this streak where they're seeing some of the lower level teams, because they will see the Blaines, the Maple Groves,
oh yeah, no question.
The Centennials, those teams that are going to be giving them a lot more challenge, and those games are upcoming. So get as much confidence as they can, get as many of those things working, and remember they have a little bit more to work through at the beginning of the season because they have to get line combinations together, get everybody really playing together as one team, girls that had not played together in the past.
For sure.
So looking forward to seeing them on Tuesday. It was a very busy weekend for the wrestling team with 5 matches for the Cardinals between Friday and Saturday. On Friday, Coon Rapids hosting a Northwest Suburban Triangular with Maple Grove and Andover coming to town. The Crimson were up first. The Cardinals hadn't lost to Maple Grove in almost 20 years, but the Crimson were ranked slightly higher than the Cardinals, had 7 ranked wrestlers on their roster. Things started well for Coon Rapids. Maple Grove had to forfeit a couple of the early weight classes, and the Cardinals' lower weights took care of business. Gabe DeGris scored a 15-0 tech fall before the end of the second period at 1:26. At 1:45, freshman Dalen Jones showing his skills against Maple Grove's Tyler Rengel. Jones had 4 takedowns in the first period on his way to an 18-8 major decision. Cards lead 28-6 after 8 matches, but the Crimson's strength in the upper weights had 3 pins and 2 major decisions from 160 to 220. Isaac Bamer's pin of Nick Berg, 195, tied the match at 28. It went down to heavyweights. Frendarius Willis facing a guy he lost to last year. He needed a major decision. Unfortunately, he's only able to get the 7-5 victory, and that meant Maple Grove holds on to hand the Cardinals a 32-31 loss in their conference opener.
It was an interesting match, to say the least. We had a parent come down on the mat to
Never
separate
seen that before.
Never seen that.
And Bob Adams, in all of his years around this sport at so many different levels, said it's only the second time he's ever seen a parent come down and disrupt a match. And that really possibly could have been the difference in the match because he broke up. That was during DeGris's tech fall.
Yep.
DeGris was close to getting him to the mat, still had time remaining. He had 20 seconds left, 20-plus seconds left. If Dad doesn't come down and take him off of him, the kid may have ended up in a pin.
Yep.
That's that one extra point. Cardinals win in the tiebreak.
Well, and then after one of the wrestlers won their match, I can't remember which weight class it was, he kind of taunted the
Cardinal
faithful,
fans.
and that should have been a deduction and a point.
If
they
could
have. They could have.
They did warn him, but they did not deduct a point from the team. He ended up with a major decision, so it was 4 points instead of 3. If they take away a point, which we've certainly seen in the past, couple of years ago, and it ended up costing the Cardinals the victory. It was against Cambridge Isani. I don't remember who it was. Kind of pushed off on the guy after beating him.
I do remember that.
And they took the 1 point away for a penalty point, and it ended up in a tie, and Cambridge Isani won in a tiebreak. And this could have very easily been ruled the same way with Maple Grove giving up that 1 point as a penalty and Coon Rapids winning in a tie break. So it's unfortunate the Cardinals lose this one. It could have easily gone the other way, but it could mean, could mean a big matchup later in the year.
Well, we'll see what that happens. Well, the second half of the tri-meet was very different, as Andover didn't even fill half of the roster. The Huskies were forced to forfeit 7 of the 14 weight classes, essentially handing the Cardinals a victory. But even if they don't take those 42 points, the Cardinals still would have won handily, as they won 5 of the 7 classes they did compete in. And they did it impressively. 145 pounds, more excitement from freshman Dalen Jones made quick work of Andover's Blaine Oberheimer, putting him in the back for the pin. 135. Kid's going to be really fun to watch over the next several years. Moses Madimba was dominant in both of his matches on Friday night. He had a 27 major decision against Maple Grove, and against Huskies he had 8 takedowns on his way to a 22-7 tech fall early in the third period. Big boys get in the fun too. Against Andover, Amara Kane, as he saw it take 73 seconds to wrap up Aiden Winter in the cradle. Then move on to 220, Lucas Partlow applying the power half on Riley Dormeyer, catching him as he tries to roll out of it. Partmeyer able to keep him under control, get the slap on the mat midway through the second period. Cardinals cruise to the 68-7 win.
Yeah, it was a little bit anticlimactic to have that as the second half. I think it was better for the Cardinals to have to be fresh against Maple Grove. Unfortunately, they still weren't able to beat the Crimson, and that's going to mean they're going to need some help. Again, in order to get a conference crown in the Northwest Suburban, you almost have to be undefeated. Well, the Cardinals now have 1 loss. They need someone else to beat Anoka, and they need to beat Anoka. The title is certainly going to go through Anoka. The Tornadoes, number 2 in the rankings early on. They were the state runner-up last year.
They're good.
And I don't know if if we get to that point, end of the season, the Cardinals are able to beat Anoka, they may be able to still get that conference championship without the help. But we'll have to see how things work out. Of course, Anoka and Maple Grove will also face one another, and so you could end up at the end of the year with 3 teams at the top of the Northwest Suburban that only have the 1 loss.
It'll be fun to see that down the road, and I don't know if we'll have the opportunity to see that match. Anoka Coon Rapids, always a good one, no question.
Well, on Saturday, the Cardinals hosting the annual Board Highland Duels. A number of teams coming into the Fieldhouse for this one, and the Cardinals held court. They beat Northfield in the opening round 48-19 and then beat Westfield 48-15. The highlight of that one, Logan Rothstein beating the top-ranked wrestler from Westfield. Then in the championship, facing number 1 ranked single A team Zumbrota Mazeppa, and the Cardinals beat him 32-27. And look at some of it. That was one of the things that happened on Friday night. They were without a couple of guys. Isaiah Thompson was not there, and neither was Kowalchuk. Yep. They're a 106-pounder, and both of those guys came in and did really well on Saturday for them. Thompson was 3-0 with 3 pins. It's nice to have you back. And I believe Kowalchuk was 2-1, and I think he had a pin as well. But 5 guys finished 3-0. Dalen Jones was 3-0, had 2 pins and a tech fall. Not bad for a freshman. John Spolbity, 3-0 with a pin in a major decision. Same with Gabe DeGris. And Moses Mademba, 3-0, had a pin in there as well. So some guys really doing a nice job and a nice way for them to finish their weekend.
It's such a good program year after year, and it's great to see guys like Dalen Jones, who's a ninth grader freshman, do well at the varsity level. And it just goes to show you what the youth in this program does and how they bring these young kids along and really the work that they put in and day out to hone their skill. And they do a great job.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. He's quick. He's obviously he's still a freshman. He's got a ways to go before he's reaching his potential, but he will be fun to watch over the next couple of seasons. Cardinals on the road this weekend up in Bena for the Big Bear Invite on Friday and Saturday. And then next week, a big section rivalry as they head to St. Francis on Friday to face the Saints. Gymnastics team had the week off. They will be at Elk River on Thursday of this week. They're at Park Center next Thursday. Swimming and diving team got its season started this past week, and a tough one to open up facing the Centennial Cougars, always one of the top teams in the conference. And the Cardinals, Coach Donaldson sent his email. It looked pretty good. He was pretty happy with how they competed. Thought, they weren't far off from having a few more points and making this a little bit closer than it ended up being. But some great things happening. Tyler Schultz, just an 8th grader, set the middle school record in the 500 free, taking first place, and beat his own middle school record in the 200 IM, finishing second in 2 minutes, 12.12 seconds. Matt Struess, just a freshman. He finished first place in the 100 back and second in the 100 fly. Jack Simmer, just a freshman, finished second place in diving. And Alex Smith was third place in the 200 free. And the other Schultz, Patrick Schultz, finished fourth in that 200 free. So the depth showing through a little bit too as they're grabbing those third and fourth place finishes together. They can move those up to second and third. It's going to make a huge difference in the team score. On Saturday, the Northwest Suburban Conference relays, and this is kind of a weird one. Obviously, bunch of events that don't actually exist. But the Cardinals doing relatively well, finishing 5th out of the 6 places. 6 teams, but only 16 points behind Spring Lake Park. And if they're able to overcome the Panthers, that means they'll be battling for the 9th, 10th place instead of being in the lower 3 meets at the end of the year. And who knows, they could climb even harder. Some of your top finishes, the 200 backstroke relay with Lymanen, Robinson, also a freshman, Lehnert and Sabby. The 200 free freestyle relay, I'm never going to get that one right. Emmons, Pluger, and Schultz. The 400 butterfly relay, that'd be kind of a fun one to watch. Schultz, Trong, Schmidt, and Struess. And then the 4 S's in the 800 free relay, Schultz, Struess, and Schmidt.
Sounds like a law firm.
I was going to say, it definitely could be business partners later in life. The Cardinals are back home for the Bengal Invite on Saturday. That'll be a big one. A lot of good teams show up for that event, and then a duel next Tuesday when they host the Osseo Orioles.
I think with swimming, remarkable to me is that so many young athletes can succeed in swimming, and you see it there. And Coach Donaldson talked about his depth that he has this year, and he's real excited about that squad. And when you get that kind of competition and you get those results from those young kids, it's great because obviously it means good things for this year, but it means good things for years to come.
Well, again, this is a team that only lost 2 seniors to graduation last year. They only have a handful of seniors this year. The bulk of their team, where their team points are coming from, are in that 8th, 9th grade range. They get a couple of sophomores that are adding some points. A couple of seniors are definitely helping out, but they've got a lot of talent at those lower levels, and again, those numbers are building at the lower levels. So things really look good for the future of this program. Hopefully, they're going to find a little more success this year. That will just increase the excitement throughout the school community, which is what leads to more people joining the program next year. I did speak to a parent yesterday of Another freshman who has joined swimming for the first time this year, asked him, he said he's really liking it.
That's
and
great.
He thinks it's something that he could be very good at, and I agree because I think he's a good athlete. He's got good speed. If he can make that happen in the water, just means great. That more good things for this program.
When it starts at the top too, with it, granted, obviously you want you want to recruit your buddies, you want to recruit your friends, obviously, but Coach Donaldson on down really brings that. We talked about last week is that infectious attitude to this team, and he's got to be a lot of fun to swim for. I mean, he's a good coach, and I think he keeps it light, makes sure everybody does what they need to do.
They work hard,
but I was going to say, but they have fun.
Absolutely. Well, as we talked about at the top of the show, the Nordic ski team will be in Winona this weekend for the Winona Classic on Saturday. Then hopefully they'll be able to ski at Anoka. I was about to say swim, which hopefully they're not
that
swimming.
won't be the case, hopefully.
They're able to ski at Anoka for some mixed relays next Thursday. That's the plan. We do need some cold temps and a little bit more snow. Alpine ski team, no problems there. They don't race until Thursday the 1st at Wild Mountain, and then on Thursday the 11th at Trollhagen. Moving on to basketball. After opening the season with a 2-point loss to Forest Lake previous Friday, the Cardinals boys basketball team hit the road on Tuesday in search of their first win. The White Bear Lake Bears were also looking for a bounce-back game. Bears had lost their opener to Cambridge Isani by almost 40 points. But that didn't mean they would be a pushover. Instead, the Cardinals were in store for another barn burner that went down to the final buzzer. Tight ball game from start to finish. Cardinals on the attack in the first act. Hussein with a nice feed back to Marcel Winston underneath. He finishes, and it's knotted at 38 at the half. Bears come roaring out of the locker room, beating the Cardinals at their own game. Josh Greifenhagen behind the defense scores on the break, put White Bear up by 8. After another stop on defense, Bears charge down court with speed again. Sam Schwartz weaves through, and it's a 10-point lead. Coon Rapids down, but certainly not out. They can push and run with the best of them. Winston, long pass to Elijah McGrath for the basket. Deficit down to 2. Perimeter shooting, a big part of the Cardinals' offense this season, and Braden Farley, one of the main reasons. That three put the Cardinals back in front, 54-53, and Farley was just getting warmed up. Off the inbounds, he rotates up top, takes the feed, knocks down another three-pointer. Farley had 3 three-pointers against Forest Lake. He hit 5 against White Bear. That one from the corner gave Coon Rapids a 5-point lead with 4 minutes left. He finished with 16 points. Bears claw their way back at the end. They can shoot from the perimeter as well. Schwartz hit the 3 from the corner, made a 1-point game. 7 seconds left. Missed free throw, White Bear Lake. One last chance. Oopsie. A miscommunication on the pass. It's a turnover. And the Cardinals wipe sweat from their brow and breathe a deep sigh of relief as they hold on 67-66.
I don't think they drew it up that way with that pass. I definitely don't. We had a chance to talk to Coach O'Gorick at the wrestling match, and he said, granted, would you like to blow a team out? No question about it. But I think the biggest thing is they get the road win, and I think that was a builder for them because they were able to get a W on the road, and that means a lot for this program.
Well, after beating White Bear Lake by 1. They had to face the team that beat the Bears by almost 40. Cambridge Isani, another section rival, came to the Fieldhouse on Saturday. The Cardinals hung with them, but could not come away with the win. 80 points, 80-71 the final. Look at the night for Marshall Holland, though. Woo!
Big one.
24 points, 17 boards, added 4 assists and 4 steals as well. Marcel Winston had a nice game, too. 14 points, 7 boards, 5 assists, and 5 blocks. Shai Sayers, don't call me Gail, 9 points, 5 boards. Elijah McGrath, 8 points, 4 boards, and Sean Smith had 6 points and 5 boards. So everybody contributing, and it's really good to see them getting on the boards. They are going to need that. They are not a big team. They're going to be undersized most nights. They need to be able to get boards, and they've been doing that. They're at New Prague on Friday, their only game this week. They host Champlin Park next Tuesday.
I saw a tweet from Coach O and basically said that was a game, that Cambridge game, back and forth. I think Cambridge pulled a little away at the end, but nonetheless, they were able to stay with them. The girls basketball team played back-to-back games against section rivals on Tuesday and Wednesday last week. On Tuesday, the Cardinals opened their home schedule with a visit from Forest Lake. The Rangers started the season with a win over Andover, but had lost 2 in a row since then. Both teams would be looking for a big win to help get things pointed back in the right direction. Cardinals had a lot of chances in the first half, but couldn't get enough of them to fall. Ellie Carver able to hit the short jumper to keep things close early. But Forest Lake is a hot shooting team, and they were firing it up from beyond the arc. Lexi Hultman hit a couple of three-pointers that helped the Rangers get the lead up to 9 points midway through the first. Cardinals looking for the answers, and the Rangers really taking away the paint. So they kick it out, and Courtney Ackerman hits the long 2. Coon Rapids will get back within 5. But the Rangers were relentless. They have another surge late in the half. They had 7 three-pointers in the first half, went to the locker room up 34-23. Cardinals trying to respond starting in the second. They push up the pace. Lexi Hanneman lets the defense go by, then scores in close. They got back within 7, but that's as close as it would come. Forest Lake went on an 18-0 run, hit 6 more three-pointers in the second half as they cruised to a 72-45 victory.
Yeah, 13 three-pointers in that game. Forest Lake can shoot the lights out, no question.
Yeah, no question.
On Wednesday, the Cardinals headed north to St. Francis, hoping they could change their fates against the Saints. But St. Francis was off to a great start. Saints were 2-0 with victories over Blaine and Roseau. They're a team that won 17 games last year and is looking to be a top contender in this section again this season. They would definitely be a tough challenge. Saints out to a lead early. Cardinals looking for the answer. Find a little bit of it with Ellie Carver knocking down a three-pointer from the top of the key. Coon Rapids able to take the lead for a time, but St. Francis comes right back. Good movement to find Dana Oskin with an open look from the right wing. Her three-pointer tied the game at 12. Cardinals also moving the ball well, isolating Carver down low. She turns and scores. Carver led the Cardinals with 17 points. It's a tight game through the first half. Oskin dials long distance again late in the period. Hits another one that helps the Saints get to the locker room up 24-23. Cardinals come flying out of the break. Good look to spot Brooklyn Dixon at the top of the key. Her three-pointer put Coon Rapids back in front. Unfortunately, it wouldn't last. Oskin hits another three-pointer. She had 4 in the game and led all scorers with 22. Saints able to spread the lead in the second half. They force the turnover, get up court fast. Oskin feeding Amy Sheffergan under the basket. Saints run away with it, handling the Cardinals a 59-44 loss.
Tough loss. Ellie Carver was 17. That's a nice night for her.
It is, but the disappointing part has to be same thing against Forest Lake. Forest Lake, we talked about it before the show, easily could have been the Cardinals in front. They were just unable to finish at the half. Second half, though, it got away from them. Same story the next night against St. Francis. It's a tight ball game. It's a one-point ball game, and the Cardinals come out and get a lead early in the second, and then to lose by 15, they need to be able to finish stronger if they hope to compete throughout the year.
Well, and that's something Coach Peterson will work on as the season continues, is being more competitive in that second half. I mean, you're down in this game, you're down by a point at the break, and that's something you need to build on when you go into the second half. You can't afford to lose those kind of leads and then let your opponent build up a big one before the final.
Yep. Well, the Cardinals have a couple of home games this week. Hopefully a home cooking will help them get things turned around a little bit. They host Armstrong on Tuesday and Duluth East on Thursday.
A couple of nice games for them.
We just have one thing on the schedule. It's that girls hockey game at the Super Rink. The Bluebirds taking on the Irondale Knights, trying to make it 3 straight. 7:30 live coverage begins here on CTN. Boys hockey next Tuesday as the Cardinals host Simley. And then on Thursday the 21st, we'll see the girls basketball team as they host the Rogers Royals. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young. Say goodnight.